Welcome to So Very Easy. My name is Laura, and today I'd like to introduce a new program. This program is all designed about keeping people connected, having friendships built, and having some fun along the way. We have recently found ourselves unable to travel. We can't travel to quilt shows, quilting retreats, our quilt shops, and a lot of times we're not able to go visit our friends that we would normally visit and enjoy that friendship that we've developed. But there's nothing saying that a suitcase can't travel without us. So the program is all based around a suitcase. We do not need to be with our suitcase in order for our suitcase to travel. And the program is called the Travelling Quiltcase. So we're going to turn an old travel-sized suitcase into a way to connect with each other. So we will need a suitcase. I'd recommend starting with a small travel suitcase. And as you can see, this one has already done some traveling. The suitcase is going to be given from person to person. So the suitcase is going to be able to travel from friend to friend. One person will be able to pass it on to another person who will then pass it on to another person. We can't travel with the suitcase, but we will be able to drop the suitcase off to our friends who would like to take part in the Travelling Quiltcase. So we will need to start by putting some souvenirs in our traveling suitcase. After all, a lot of times when we travel, we not only buy souvenirs for ourselves, but we do buy them for our quilting friends. So the souvenirs are going to be things that you think your friends are going to like. You can add some notions in. You could add a book. When you're finished reading a novel, you can always add that. And in this case, I did add a travel guide, just for some fun. If you have some patterns that you're finished with and you're not going to use anymore, they can go inside. You might have a few pieces of fabric that you know you're not going to use anymore. They can go in. You're basically going to be able to put in here what you think someone else is going to want. So when the suitcase leaves you and goes to the next person, they will be able to choose a souvenir, but they're going to replace the souvenir with something extra. And that way, whenever anyone gets the suitcase, they're going to be able to choose a souvenir that they like. Once we have all the souvenirs in the suitcase, we're going to need to have a travel journal. Now the travel journal is just going to be a plain notebook. This could be one that we've picked up at the dollar store. And the notebook is designed so that every single person that gets the traveling quilt case is going to be able to write some well wishes, some good thoughts, a funny story, anything that's going to be fun to read. Be sure to put your city and the date. The journal is designed to always stay with the suitcase. So after a long time, you're going to have a lot of fun reading of other people's travels. The next thing we get to add is a quilt block. Now the quilt block is going to be designed very similar to what a round robin would be. So you're going to start with a block and you're going to be able to put borders on it. Or you can start with some squares and add rows. So every person that gets the traveling quilt case will be able to add one border. And over time, this one square is going to build into a quilt. If you have some extra fabric, it's always nice to put it in there so that the next person can add a border on and pull from some of that fabric. All quilts need a label. So start a label and be sure to put your name and your city on it. This is your basic traveling quilt case. Once this is all done, you're going to be able to close this up and bring it to a friend. The friend is then going to be able to open it up. They can add on to the quilt, sign the quilt label, write in the journal, take a souvenir, and leave a souvenir. When they have finished their little round, they're going to be able to close up this case and give it to the next person. And it's going to be able to continue. So this traveling suitcase is going to be able to travel all over the place. It will go from friend to friend and from town to town. And this is how you would build your very basic traveling quilt case. If you'd like an official starter kit, you will get a few fun things that are going to be able to make this case official. The first thing you're going to receive are things that are going to stay with the suitcase. The first thing is a leather travel tag. The case is not designed to come back to you. This just gives someone some information on who started the case and if they need a contact information. And in that cover, I would definitely recommend to write your invoice number down, and you'll see why in a minute. So that tag is going to go on the suitcase and stay with the suitcase. You'll get a couple of stickers. One sticker you're going to be able to put right on the suitcase. The next sticker you're going to be able to put on your notebook. So this will be the official notebook that will go with the traveling case. You will also receive a card stating that this is one of the official traveling quilt cases. It's going to have the founder's name. Whoever has started the suitcase will be acknowledged, the date, and your serial number. So that is going to stay with the case. You will also receive a card that's going to give you all the information that you need to know about the traveling quilt case. So the next person who gets this will have a good idea on what this is all about. And there's also an area that gives some helpful tips and guidelines along the way. Another spot to put your invoice number. The invoice is very important when you buy the starter kit because that invoice number is a tracking number. So you will be able to go online and hashtag quilt case plus your invoice number, and you're going to be able to track the suitcase. As long as the person who receives it also put hashtag quilt case and that invoice number, you are going to be able to track this. There's also a Facebook page designed just for the traveling quilt case. So not only can you hashtag it and follow it by your invoice number, you're going to be able to see lots of other people's cases and where they are traveling to and where they're traveling from. So be sure to put a hashtag, quilt case, and whatever your invoice number is. And when you receive a case, you are going to be able to put this information into Facebook or Instagram, and you're going to be able to see where the suitcase has been and who started it, pictures and information. So your invoice number is going to be a tracking number. So this information card is also going to go in the suitcase. You will then find a little something from me to you. You will receive a limited edition bracelet. You will also receive a second card, and this card is for you to keep. A personal thank you card from me that also has that tracking information. And just in case you are needing to know, traveling can be spelled correctly with one L or two L's. So just for fun, I've chosen the 2L variation on traveling. This you get to keep. I will be putting in my What's That Stitch card. This card I use while I'm doing different things on my machine. I'm going to start with a sample and put it right here. Then I'm going to be able to fill out all the information that is needed to get to those stitches on that sample. This we're going to be able to keep with the machine, keep with your needles, or keep it with your thread. And that way, when you go to do whatever's on that sample, could be a buttonhole, it could be a free motion stitch, you do not have to try to figure out the stitches. All the information is right here. I have some wonderful sponsors that are giving you some lovely free things. Vigo and Northcott are giving you a nice fat quarter of fabric. C&T Publishing is giving you a handout on all your quilt making basics. So this is a great guideline. And on the back of this publication, for a limited time only, they are giving you a 30% discount code. So you're going to be able to buy a book from C&T Publishing and get 30% off. The discount code is hidden underneath there. Chemette's Needle is also giving you a wonderful little gift. To keep for the theme of traveling, you will receive a travel tag, a package of needles, and there's a whole assortment of needles, a pocket guide all about needles and their different sizes, and what those sizes are recommended to do. This is a great thing to have handy. And a color chart guide. So at a glance, you can see what the colors on the needles mean. These gifts are from sponsors, and you have a choice of what you'd like to do with them. You can keep these as gifts for yourself, or these could be the gifts to start the souvenirs. So you don't even have to find something. You can start and put these in the suitcase as the starting souvenirs. This is a limited edition, so things could change over time, but you will always get things to keep with the suitcase, things for you to keep, and different things from sponsors. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, what are we going to do with this quilt? Well, I believe that this quilt will be done and given to the right person at the right time. The quilts are not designed to get really, really big. They're designed more for what I would call hug quilts. So if you've received the Travelling Quiltcase and you've opened it up and you already have that quilt a nice size, and you know someone that could do with a quilter's hug, quilt it, put the label on it, and give them that finished quilt from all of us. And I know that this will go into the right person at the right time. You can then start a new square, start a new label, and put it in the case. This is supposed to be a fun project. So the quilts are not designed to be very huge. They're designed just to have fun. The longer this suitcase travels, the more quilts will be made and given away. And the more stories are going to get written, and the more souvenirs are going to get circulated. And if you get this Travelling Quiltcase and you do not have time to participate with it, that's fine too. We don't always have time to travel. Just package it right back up, put it in the quilt case, and send it to someone who would love to take part in it. It will be very interesting to see how long and how far this quilt case travels. I do hope this is going to be a fun way for quilters and friends to connect. New friends, old friends, and traveling friends. What a fun way to travel without actually leaving our home. We get some souvenirs. We get to share quilting, which we love doing and we love sharing. It's a fun project, and we can do it anywhere in the world. If you are an individual, you could definitely start one up. If you are a store, a guild, a group, anyone can do this. It will be a lot of fun to see how many quilt cases start traveling. So be sure to put a comment in the comment section, like the Facebook page, and don't forget to hashtag the quilt case that you started and the one that you've received. How much fun it will be to see where this goes and for how long it goes. I'll put links in the description, and please, I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this. And thank you for joining me today on So Very Easy. Feel free to subscribe and come on back. Let's see what we're talking about next time in the sewing room. Bye for now.